Welcome to Eric Unscripted. Today, we're going to be investigating one of the most important aspects of our society. Do all men think the same? Yes. Okay, thanks for watching. Now, we're gonna watch a Jubilee video to figure that out. Okay, first question. Damn you, society! We're gonna go to the next question. Okay, take two. So, this is super weird. I think I would pay for the first date. If she said, I got this, I would probably be like, no, let me get it. And then just for the sake of like polite argument or something, I don't know. But I mean, I would let her. I wouldn't feel offended. And like, I don't think that this is an obligation that the man has to or owes it or whatever, because I just don't really believe all that much in these like societal norms or like things that we just invented, you know, over the last several thousand years or whatever. But at the same time, I would go into it with the attitude that I'm going to, right? But okay. Betas! We only have one Chad.
I like the way the old school ways work.
There's only one Chad, and his name is Lewis. Well, his name is Chad.
Leadership role.
Tradition.
To be like the breadwinner.
I'm the caretaker of society. I don't even like saying it this way. Once you give the woman the power, then you just demasculate yourself.
Ooh. So that's a pretty Chad move. That's a pretty Chad thing to say. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to really disagree with this guy a lot.
I want to stick to what's made me happy, and my grandparents, my parents. I'm just gonna stick with it because it works. It's not perfect, but it works. Be a man, plain and simple.
I don't know.
What does that mean? Like, in all seriousness, like, what does that mean? I don't know. It's like if people ask me, what is a man, or what does it feel like to be a man? I actually don't know, because the only thing I've ever been is a man. So what am I supposed to compare it to? When I hear like billionaires and multimillionaires talk about what working people should do or what working people's attitudes should be, so many of them are just totally tone deaf about what they're talking about because they've never not been rich for the most part.
I think we're just getting in dangerous territory when we start talking about chivalry. At the end of the day, it's like, yo, baby, if you want to pay for this, like, there is no hierarchy.
Exactly.
Like, you want to pay for this, and maybe next time I'm like, I just got to check.
So, like, I haven't been in a relationship in quite a while, but my last girlfriend, we never even talked about this. We never, like, decided this. We just, on dates, one of us would go, hey, you paid last time, so I'll pay this time, or whatever. And we didn't keep track of how much money was being spent. It was just it developed organically. It made perfect sense to both of us. I don't know. I think we just kind of thought the same, or we were on that same wavelength or whatever. And I'm not even remotely ashamed to let my girlfriend pay for my dinner or whatever, you know?
Wasn't this the first meal though?
Yeah, the first one.
You only get one chance to make a first impression.
Well, what was that got to do with anything? Like, if she offers to pay for the first meal and you let her, what, are you a simp? I mean, like, no, because a simp would pay for every single meal, right? So I don't get it.
It doesn't matter if it's a girl or a guy. It's 2019, and your logic shouldn't be, like, no disrespect, like...
2019? Oh, wow, this video is almost a year old, huh?
Oh, because my grandpa did it and it worked for him, then it works for me. If she's not gonna date me that second time because I didn't pay for her, I think I dodged a bullet.
Yeah, that's a really good point. If she I don't know. Like, if that's her attitude, then it's probably somebody who like wants to take advantage of you, perhaps. So, yeah.
I support the Me Too movement.
Okay. I do support the Me Too movement. So, the problem with this is it's sort of like the Black Lives Matter movement. There have been bad actors in that movement, and there have been bad actors in this movement too. But that doesn't mean that the movement as a whole is corrupt or that it's filled with bad actors. The problem with our society is that because of the internet, one person or a few people can have a huge audience, and then whatever they say or do, and this happens with the news too, reaches so many people that we get this sense of like a false realization of what things are actually like. A video of some like Black Lives Matters protesters destroying private property or something gets on YouTube and it's got like 10 million views or whatever. That fools a bunch of people into thinking that this is really what the Black Lives Matter movement is like. When no, we know that there have been thousands upon thousands upon thousands of peaceful demonstrations of that with nothing bad happening. And it's the same with the Me Too movement. Some people have had their reputations completely ruined on unfounded claims, probably. I really don't know any off the top of my head. But maybe it's happened. But this movement, the movement is an idea. The movement isn't a person, right? So the movement is for a good cause, and I support it. If I were doing this, I would probably go to agree. I couldn't go to strongly agree because I'm just acknowledging some of those things that have happened.
3, 2, 1, go.
Be real. Be real.
Chad strongly disagrees.
At first, when I saw it, and talking to my friends, and family, a lot of people in the South, they're like, these women should have spoke up a long time ago. And then I had to step aside and really process it for myself. And
so there are like two arguments that people use. Why didn't they say something earlier? That's a popular one. Or if they're making a claim about something that didn't happen a long time ago, so they can't say, why didn't they say something about it then? Then they just say that they're making it up. So you can't win either way.
You know what? She didn't feel comfortable. And she wasn't in a society, in a place where it was acceptable for her to say anything about it. So now that they have the platform and the ability, I'm like, that's amazing. Speak your truth.
What do you tell a child who is accused of rape by a woman, has his whole life destroyed, and then people just go,
There's all.
This guy is crazy. A child accused of rape? Who? What child has been accused of rape? See, this is the problem we have with our Discord. People just straw man an argument and say something just so completely ridiculous. You cannot possibly take it to an extreme like that. There's no reasonable reason to do that.
It's going to be people that take advantage of it, or it's not going to be perfect. We're figuring it out as we go, but I think it's done more good than it's done bad.
I think we get to acknowledge the bad though. I think that's why I'm doing this thing is for us to say oh, he did that to me, and all of a sudden now we've vindicated that guy is vilified. There is no chance of him having a say in the conversation.
See, that's why I would have said agree and not strongly agree.
Trial by mob
is
is
not good. This mob mentality is bad. I agree with that, but I don't think that's exclusive to the Me Too movement.
But we're using it right now to say, oh, that person is bad. Oh, that person.
You swore!
Conversations being happening. If it's a movement to say, yes, okay, this hierarchy we've created of men and women, which is a result of the way men are expected to act, the women are expected to act. Let's have those conversations and everything changes, and I'll be over there all day.
He swore again!
Toxic masculinity is overblown.
So I would go to somewhat agree. Maybe I would go to agree. Here's the problem I have with this. I think it's another false equivalency. There are people who are toxically masculine, but it is not most people. And I really don't buy the argument that society is shaped by toxic masculinity. Now, I really don't like this one because there are initiatives to where this is being taught to like kindergartners and first graders, the idea of toxic masculinity. Somebody that young is not ready to be talked about a social issue such as this. We can talk about the idea of toxic masculinity. I think it's real, but I think it's overblown. But you can't talk to a child who's that young because there's way too large of a risk that a young boy who hears that is just hearing that he is what is wrong with society. Now, it's not his fault. He's a young kid. They don't understand what we mean. And a lot of times they're very afraid to ask questions. And so they draw their own conclusions. And I think this is really severely inappropriate for very young kids to talk about. I think you would have to be like a junior in high school at the youngest to approach a topic like this.
3, 2, 1, go.
Chad, what are you doing? So Chad strongly disagrees with toxic masculinity being overblown. I had him totally on the other side of the spectrum.
Use a different word.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the exact right word.
Yeah, I think I just somewhat agree that it's blown out of proportion because I think what happens with social media is a group of people coin a term and now we're all painted by it.
Like, we are not in like a like rape culture world, like women are being catcalled every day. And so like
I mean, jumping from rape to catcalling, pump the brakes a little bit.
Are still, I think, seen or experienced as like a predatory presence to women. So like that's why I just don't think it's like overblown. I think it's new.
If we were good men, there wouldn't be feminists, they wouldn't be attacking us, they wouldn't be hating us. You have a lot of guys who don't want to commit to marriage. You have a lot of guys who catcall. So yes, men have become toxic. And once again, I have to be consistent with all my beliefs and all my morals. I'm very traditional.
I don't really think that those things necessarily go together. Now it's like I'm totally fine with him being on not fitting my my predispositions about him. Like, shame on me, good for him, right? But I mean, like, on average, if you have a traditionalist view, people that have those traditionalist views really disagree with toxic masculinity.
I see what you're saying, but the way you're framing it, like this word moral is kind of...
We don't know what that is anymore, though. That's
well, it's like, it sounds like you're saying...
We don't know what moral is?
Be like the moral compass of society.
It is.
I think it's everyone's job.
It's everybody's, but men, if men want to coin themselves as the leaders, you have to hold up to the good and the bad.
That's part of the...
I mean, if it's everybody's job, then why are you saying that men are the ones that have to be the leaders? You know, he's like saying men own the responsibility to be better. Yeah, that's totally true. But then he's like saying, and men have more of the responsibility or something. I'm not even sure what I just said. Whatever.
Problem though, like that's what I think toxic masculinity, or it's putting too much pressure on yourself. I mean, it's very obvious that we're grappling with like the history and the damage of like what a world completely run by men does to us. That's why I think we're talking about toxic masculinity.
Yeah, basically every really bad decision that's ever been made, like politically, has been made by a man.
I am comfortable showing my emotions.
No!
2, 1, go.
Okay.
It's been like harped upon me for years that like showing my emotions were bad. And like me trying not to be gay I'm like, no, like, I don't want to show these emotions because I'm not gay. I can't be gay. Like, I'm not supposed to be gay. Like, the church tells me, my dad tells me, my mom tells me, everybody's telling me I'm not supposed to be gay. So, like, just understanding that at 25, now 26, like, I'm over here like, okay, like, oh, you're insecure. Okay, that's what that feels like. Oh, you're sad. That's what that feels like. I can now be aware of those things, but to show them to other people right now is like really hard for me.
So that's a real story, right? So I super appreciate that guy's perspective and where he's coming from with that. And I sympathize. I feel bad for that kind of, upbringing that he had. I've never met any of these people that just say, don't show emotion, right? I've never had a coach or a teacher or a family member that's ever expressed anything like that. And I've really never had a friend either that says anything like that. When I was younger, I don't know, we probably said stuff like, don't be gay or whatever, because we were idiots and terrible people when we were teenagers. But I don't know. I've never seen very much of it, but it's out there.
I do feel like I'm very verbally about my emotions with my wife, but I wouldn't agree completely because I'm not like that with anyone else. I mean, I just failed a college class.
Okay.
I was crying about it to my wife, but no one else at school saw me cry,
So I don't know. I think I'm probably like that a little bit. I get accused of being kind of an emotionless robot sometimes, like at work and stuff like that. But, I mean, I don't know. I think I do it more strategically. I don't want my problems to be projected into my classroom or anything like that.
I remember seeing my dad cry for the first time when his mom died, and I remember.
Wow, okay. That's the first time I ever saw my dad cry was when his mom died. And I remember that really vividly. I was pretty darn young. That's the only time I've ever seen him cry. I haven't seen my mom cry that much, except at a thing you would totally expect to see that, like, a funeral, or I think my graduation, maybe a little bit that was going on.
Or imprinting that in my mind as wow, my dad can be upset, and that was an important thing to witness.
It's real.
Wow. That is really hitting home with me. I don't really know what to say.
This thing about masculinity not being able to show your emotions is very bad. It puts us backwards in society, and we need to be thinking about how to tap into our emotions in a healthy way together.
Thank you for saying your truth, brother.
Bros always gotta hug it out. No, I mean, that was pretty interesting, pretty entertaining. It really wasn't very cringy. I'm hoping to find some cringy videos that are just gonna be way more fun to commentate on. But I mean, we can be serious, we can joke around with this kind of stuff. It's all for fun. So, I mean, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this one, and thank you for watching.